Hey St. Catharines, Mayor Matt Cisco here, and welcome back to Talk STC. It's a new year, it's a new show. We are excited to be here, and frankly, we have 25.7 million reasons to be excited. Very good news in St. Catharines. I had the opportunity, was joined last week by my friend Chris Biddle, our MP, to celebrate in the fact that the federal government has announced a $25.7 million grant through the Housing Accelerator Fund through CMHC, and that's going to come to the city of St. Catharines in our efforts to boost the housing supply. This investment does a lot of things. I will admit, one of the best days so far for me in my time as the mayor of our beautiful city. It allows us to leverage funds and be able to build out our housing supply, work with the development community to build out our housing supply, and it allows us to focus specifically on things like affordable housing, on the missing middle. It's going to give us the opportunity to work on projects and to put in place initiatives that we've talked a lot about, but we knew we needed help from the upper levels of government. So we are very exciting. This builds on the pledge that was made last year by our council, the goal of 11,000 new housing units in St. Catharines by 2031. So I want to take this opportunity to congratulate all the folks at the city, starting with CAO David Oakes and Deputy CAO Aaron Ohoski. They led their teams, Brian York in our Economic Development Department, Tammy Kate in Planning, but the whole staff coming together to put together an exceptional application. And as I said, very good news for the city of St. Catharines last week, and we will continue to build on that. You'll hear more and more about things like municipal development corporations and the missing middle and all of the different initiatives that this funding allows us to put in place into action on in the coming weeks and months. Today's episode, we have staff from our Economic Development Department, a very vital part of our city team and a department that City Council has put a lot of focus on over the last couple of years. We're going to start with Dylan Tamlin, who's the Business Information Officer with the St. Catharines Enterprise Center. He's going to join me and we're going to talk about the great work that's happening at the Enterprise Center. And then after that, we're going to be joined by Julia Cholfi, our Economic Development Officer with the city, talking about Film STC, another development over the last year. Worked on for years before that, but trying to build out the film industry and their presence in the city of St. Catharines, along with some of the other exciting things that are happening in the city. But my first guest, as mentioned, Dylan Tamlin from the St. Catharines Enterprise Center. Dylan, welcome.
Yes, thank you for having me on today.
Definitely. So,
yes.
Born and raised in Kawartha Lakes,
Yep.
Ontario. I said to you, I think at one point, you're the first person I met from Kawartha Lakes.
Yep.
You went to Trent University, graduated with a double major in business administration and computer science. The Trent Excalibur, correct?
Yes.
That was the new thing that I learned today. Trent Excalibur. After university, though, you began working to help small businesses get online as an employee of Digital Main Street in Kawartha Lakes.
Yep.
And then you made the move down to St. Catharines.
Yeah.
So before we get into it, what was the draw to Southern Ontario?
Oh, I came from a pretty small town, and coming down here, I felt that there's similar atmospheres in many of the communities around here. So I felt that while it is a much bigger place and it's a next step for myself, it's a natural place to wind up in.
That's fantastic. So you took on the role of Business Information Officer, so you're working with small businesses on a regular basis. But before we get too deep, fun fact, you grew up racing motocross?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So how does one get into motocross?
Of course. So, starting out around the age of 5, I fell in love with the sport. My parents took me to a local race, and I was passionate ever since then around the entire sport of motocross.
That's fantastic. I'm not going to lie. So I learned about the Trent Excalibur today. I met someone we've met before, but I'm interviewing someone from Kawartha Lakes. I have never in my life met anybody who's into motocross.
Look at that.
So like it actually like racing. So that's great. All right. So St. Catharines Enterprise Center. Tell me a little bit. How do you help small businesses? Like, what does the Enterprise Center do? What's its function within the region?
Of course. So the St. Catharines Enterprise Center is one of 54 similar centers all across Ontario. We are a great resource for small businesses and entrepreneurs. We offer one-to-one consultations to help tackle problems that they may be facing, or just to help them, get their business started up. Beyond that, we help with business planning, marketing plan supports, and we offer some training and networking for these entrepreneurs so that they can help to build up their local network within the city that they're working in.
Okay, so What types of folks are you dealing with through the Enterprise Center? Give me an idea of what typical clients might look like.
Every day is a little bit different, but oftentimes our clients will be, retailers or restaurants or those within the service world. So, for instance, those that operate restaurants and are in the food sector, we have a program, Foodpreneur, which we've partnered with other small business centers across Ontario. This program, Foodpreneur, helps them access the skills that they need and the information they need to build up their business and do this in the right way. Beyond that, we have programs such as a home childcare program to help target the need for increased childcare supports here in the region. We've recently had a webinar with the assistance of some other partners here just to talk all about that, and we are always welcome to assist with planning and building up this home-based childcare.
So when it comes to home childcare, and you raise a good point, I mean, obviously with the advent over the last couple of years, the federal government support programs, we know that there is a massive need. Are you seeing a lot of people coming into the sector, or is it still not moving? Because I know the demand for it is definitely outstripping supply right now. Yeah. Are you seeing a lot of people get into home-based childcare and that industry right now, or is there still a growing need and the Enterprise Center is encouraging people if they have the idea to come out?
We have seen an uptick in requests around this, but we are really encouraging others that could be considering this as a method of employment as they're raising their own children. This is something that could be viable and something they could see about, and it is something that we would love to promote and be able to expand across this region.
That's fantastic. So I hate talking about COVID. Nobody likes talking about the pandemic. But one of the things that came out of COVID, and it was something that I was a city councilor at the time, and it popped up, I'm not going to say out of nowhere, but it was a brand new program, this idea of digital Main Street. Yep. And we started to see downtown businesses, online shopping was really all we could do for a period of time. And I started to see businesses applying for and getting digital Main Street grants. Talk a little bit about what that grant is, because I know there are a number of downtown St. Catharines businesses across the city, but specifically in the downtown, because that was the ward I was in, who were very proudly displaying, like, we received a digital Main Street grant, and that's why we were able to offer online. So talk a little bit about the grant program.
Of course, yes. Digital Main Street's Digital Transformation Grant is a wonderful program. This is actually where I got my start in the world of economic development as well, so I can definitely speak a fair amount about this program. So yes, the grant itself is $2,500. It can be used for a variety of means all around a small business's online presence, whether this is improving their online marketing or improving their access to e-commerce capabilities. As you mentioned, it was a wonderful tool over the pandemic to help small businesses access what they need to actually get online and to still sell to their community. Beyond that, though, there are a few stipulations that you need to meet to be able to access this funding. Your business needs to be public facing, of course. You need to have a proper brick and mortar location. And beyond that, you need to be open at the time of application. As long as your business qualifies under all three of those core pieces, you are able to access the grant. And currently, you are able to access the grant over the course of this month until the end of January, 2024.
Okay,
yeah.
Right on. So, okay, I'm gonna let the audience, the community in a little bit inside my brain. So when I moved back from Korea, one of the businesses that I saw when I was in Korea, it was a very simple, low-key sandwich shop. So let's say that I'm a young entrepreneur in St. Catharines and I want to develop this business, and I walk in to the St. Catharines Enterprise Center. And where are you located? Let's throw that out there.
Of course. So we are located right downtown St. Catharines. We are located at 14 Ontario Street. Just the base level of the large green parking structure.
There you go. So 14 Ontario Street. Yep. I walk in your doors as a person with an idea. What does that process look like? How do I start off? Where are you going to take me? What are you going to direct me towards?
Of course. So for an entrepreneur that opens our doors and comes on in, at first they'll sit down with our research and reception Angela. Angela will walk them through, what the office does and what we can provide in terms of assistance. This is just to best qualify what they're looking for, and that allows myself and my manager, Rob Belcher, to understand best what we can do to assist as well. After they have this first introductory meeting with Angela, they generally will be set up with a meeting with either myself or with Rob, depending on what they're looking for in terms of assistance. And then from there, it is really geared towards what they need. We offer services according to what are needed.
So when people come in, like let's go back to me, as the wanting to open a sandwich shop.
Yep.
If I walk in with that desire and nothing else,
Yep.
you're able to help me.
Of course, yeah. No, so if you wanted to start a sandwich shop, we would go through our common steps to starting, and we would have a core focus on what sort of regulations you would need to be aware of. Just with the food sector, we have some regional involvement in that. You'll have to have a health inspection. Beyond that, though, we'll also assist you with, writing up a business plan so you can have your ideas set on paper, and if you need to access funding, you'll have a usable piece that you can bring towards, to say, a bank or a local community future development corporation.
So even if someone doesn't have the financing that they need, you're going to help them get to the point where they can start trying to access that financing.
Exactly, yes.
And I make the assumption, you're pointing them in the right direction as well, right?
Yes.
So other forms of assistance with the St. Catharines Enterprise Center, like you've talked a little bit about that entrepreneur walking in, or in this case me, with my sandwich shop idea, but what else does the Enterprise Center do?
Of course. So beyond, those consultation services and all of that, we offer a couple of programs all around entrepreneurship, all in the intention of increasing the amount of entrepreneurs starting their own business. So for those young entrepreneurs, 18 to 29, we have a program, Summer Company. Provided they are currently in school, they can access $3,000 to start a business over their summer months. This is a great way for young entrepreneurs to get their first experience within entrepreneurship, and it provides some funding, training, and mentoring so that they understand what they're doing and can run the business to the best of their capabilities. For a more general entrepreneur, not in school, we have Starter Company. Starter Company Plus is a $5,000 grant that can be used to help, a recently started business or a business that is about to launch to actually get going and cover some of those core expenses that will have to be covered when they start up. Beyond the funding that this grant offers, there's again training, mentoring, and supports all throughout the program just to help ensure that we are, building up our entrepreneurs as best as we can.
That's phenomenal. I will say, I know it's been a pretty steady stream, especially after COVID, a lot of people with new ideas. So I will say, from my perspective, it's good to know that there's a resource there for people because I can only imagine how daunting the idea of starting your own business might be.
No, it is a tough one. It is a tough decision to make all around, and there's a number of pieces that, an entrepreneur must consider, but it is a rewarding decision to make.
Yeah.
For instance, through these two programs, we've been able to assist over 90 entrepreneurs over the past 5 years to start their business, many of which remain today.
That's phenomenal. Dylan, I appreciate you coming in and talking about the Enterprise Center. I will say I appreciate the hard work you and your team do over there, and looking forward to having some of those entrepreneurs. We've had a few folks who started businesses over the last couple of years come on, and I look forward to engaging with a couple of them right here on the show.
Wonderful. I can't wait to see it.
Excellent. Right after the break, we will be back with another member of our ECDev team, Julia Cholfi, and we'll be talking with her as soon as Talk STC returns. All right, St. Catharines, welcome back. We had a great conversation with one member of our ECDev team, and now we're going to talk to another member of our ECDev team. My next guest is Julia Cholfi. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did.
Yes, everybody has been making sure that I understand. I want to say Seoffley, but that's not it. She's an ECDev officer with the City of St. Catharines since March of 2022, but your municipal government career spans 13 years, various positions in ECDev, in film offices, in visitor services, and sports tourism.
Correct.
And you were just saying, we could have a sports STC conversation. That'd be a lot of fun.
It would be a lot of fun.
It would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You joined St. Catharines. You've been focused on engaging with the business community, building the workforce skills and development in St. Catharines, working closely with other municipalities and regional partners, as well as leading projects such as the administration of the seasonal temporary commercial patio program and the launch of Film STC, which is what we're going to talk about today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I will say the seasonal temporary commercial patio program is one of my favorites, partly because I had a hand in helping it get started, and I feel really good about that. Before we get into Film STC, tell me about the challenges on that one, because I know it took some time to get the city geared in the right direction for those seasonal patios.
It's a wonderful program, and actually, as one of the newer members of the team, I was really excited to take that on because I was able to jump in and meet the business community right away. I think a lot of those programs, specifically our program in St. Catharines, was built out of a necessity during COVID due to capacity issues. And then now that we've come out of COVID in terms of the capacity issues, how do we continue to innovate? And some of the challenges are just the different requests that we're seeing. We have a great partnership and a team within the city. So I am the lead administrator, but my team is 7 different divisions that comment on every application. So we've really tried to streamline it, but we're seeing different requests from businesses, the size of their patios, the availability of live music, some other programming on the patios. So each request is very unique. We've been able to pivot and adapt and help the businesses, but there will be challenges every year due to climate change, due to weather, due to construction projects. So we're trying to be very adaptable with that, but I agree, it is a great program. It will be coming back in 2024, and we're very excited.
Yeah, and I will say, from my perspective, like as the downtown councilor for a number of years and now as the mayor, it's one of the programs that I actually get a lot of compliments on because it was a different way for the city to do business.
Yes.
And it has been adaptable, and it has recognized, okay, the thing that we thought made sense 5 years ago doesn't really make sense now, or maybe it makes sense but in a different way, so let's try it that way. There's been a lot of willingness to change and to work with business owners as opposed to saying, these are the rules, meet them or no.
Right.
So kudos to you and to your team.
Thank you.
Before we get too deep into this, I think it needs to be said, you're a Michigan fan.
My husband is a Michigan fan, so I buried into that, yes.
Okay, and you have cheered for Michigan in the past.
I have, yes.
So, but we've managed to overcome this struggle in our relationship, and we can still talk to each other without one of us throwing a punch at the other.
We can, and if you want to, spell out the state that you love, I'm willing to do that. Cheer with you, Mr. Mayor.
I will simply leave it at Go Buckeyes, and we'll move on.
Okay.
All right. So, before we speak about Film STC specifically, let's talk a little bit about the film industry in Ontario, because I think it's something that's not particularly well understood, unless, like me, you've happened to accidentally wander through a movie set somewhere in one of the cities in Southern Ontario. What's the significance of the film industry in Ontario?
So the film industry has been growing year over year since the early 2010s, and there's a number of factors for that, but the latest numbers that we have are from 2022. And we know that there were over 400 productions in Ontario in 2022, a record year. The direct spend from those productions was $3.15 billion with a B, another record year.
Yep.
And we know that in Ontario, there are close to 50,000 jobs, direct and spin-off jobs related to the film industry. So it's very impactful. We do quite a split between international and domestic productions, about 62-38 split, but it's continued to grow year over year. Now, 2023 will be a bit of an anomaly year due to labor disruptions in the US. However, it was a very strong year for domestic content in Ontario, and a lot of our unions were not impacted by that, so we were able to foster that. So it's a huge industry that continues to grow proportionally. And the busiest jurisdiction in Ontario is, of course, Toronto, but the second busiest is Hamilton. So just, our neighbors to the west in Niagara. And I think that there's a real opportunity for us to leverage that and to capitalize on some of the capacity issues that they're starting to see because they are full with filming. So with all of that, it was a really good time for us to launch Film STC and now to build on that.
Well, it's funny, so we're going to talk about Film STC. I will say, have you seen the Leonardo DiCaprio meme where he's pointing at the TV? I think it's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yep.
Okay, so I do that semi-regularly when I'm watching shows like The Handmaid's Tale, and it's, that's St. Catharines.
Yeah.
Or, it's kind of, I have a chuckle at it, but I mean,
it's that pride.
Well, but this is it. Like, I love the fact that, something that I never really, in my earlier years, would have thought, oh yeah, film and the film industry, definitely Southern Ontario, Toronto, Hamilton, St. Catharines, wouldn't have occurred to me. But so tell me about Film STC then. Why do we have it? What's the purpose of the portal?
So Film STC was essentially launched, the brand itself, in 2021, late 2021, and it is an initiative through the City of St. Catharines led by the Economic Development and Government Relations team, as the Economic Development Officers are the main point of contact for any film requests or inquiries that come into St. Catharines. So we had taken the information, the inquiries that we were receiving, and realized we needed a bit of a streamlined approach and kind of a one-stop shop. So the brand of Film STC helps us get that recognition to the industry, but then in December of 2022, we launched filmstc.ca, which is our website, and that really is intended to be a one-stop shop, not just for the industry, but also for the community. So the audiences with filmstc.ca, it's a three-prong approach. The first, of course, is the film industry. So on our website, it has key contacts, it has our film policy, our filming application, and just some of the FAQs and the need to know to film in St. Catharines to sort of educate themselves before they get too far down the path of coming to film in our city. The second audience that we're focused on, and this is a real key for us right now, is local property owners, homeowners, and business owners. Because we don't have a film studio in St. Catharines, we are entirely reliant on what's called location filming. So that is when you'll see, St. Paul Street downtown, or local homes and businesses being used for a single day or multiple days of filming. That's location filming, and that's really what's going to draw the industry to us. So our second kind of prong is the local community and encouraging, if you're interested in learning more about the industry or you'd like to post your property, reach out to us and we can help you do that completely for free. And that's curated by Ontario Creates, which is the Ontario Film Commission. Yep. And then our third prong is business development within the community. So we see a lot of productions come in and bring everything that they need from outlying communities, because we don't necessarily have the infrastructure or the services to support here, but we want to help our businesses grow. If you can do catering, if you can rent costumes, if you have empty space you can rent, restroom facilities, equipment, we're going to work on that side as well and building that. So the Film STC, led by the City of St. Catharines, specifically economic development, kind of brings all of that together. So in a nutshell, that is what Film STC is and what our hope is.
Well, and you talked about the business development, but I know there is efforts right now. There are entrepreneurs in the community that are trying to build out small film studios.
Yes.
And so they can connect through with Film STC as well.
Absolutely.
And I've had some meetings with folks that I think have really interesting plans that they're moving forward with, and so it's good to have the city supporting them in that capacity.
Yes.
So when we talk about films being shot, we talk about productions. I will just say I love the idea. The one-stop shop is always something we're striving for. I can remember back when we had, I want to say it was Eat Street. It was, following food trucks and all the rest of it. And we had a production in St. Catharines, and it was one of the very first ones. And the director of economic development had to bring a report to council talking about this, that, and there was a process, and they needed to. From those early situations in the early 2010s, we've really developed to the point where this is now just a thing that happens, and we have a process. Tell me about who's coming to town now. What sort of films are we seeing shot?
So we're definitely seeing a wide variety. We've recently had some TVO children's shows come in to film, and they've used some of our pool facilities. And if I could, we had briefly spoken about STC patio program at the beginning. And the team we have around that for approvals, very similar in film. Yep. So we are really engaging all of those as the review team and the approvers to help make it a little bit more seamless. But we're seeing TVO films. We had the last season of The Amazing Race Canada film in St. Catharines, and then you had mentioned The Handmaid's Tale was previously here, Netflix's Madame C.J. Walker, The Hardy Boys. So we're definitely seeing all kinds of productions coming in. We're seeing inquiries from large feature films to independents and students. So we're really trying to cater to everybody, different levels of support depending on what the ask is, but we're not turning anyone away. We want to welcome everyone and be open for business for everyone.
So I'm going to put my Councillor Joe Kushner hat on for a minute and pretend I'm an economics professor. What's the competitive advantage for St. Catharines when we're talking about the film sector? Like what makes us stand out and makes St. Catharines a location?
So I think that one of our greatest assets and our competitive advantage is we have not been over-filmed yet. So we're still very open to it. There's no fatigue yet. So there's no limitations for anybody that wants to come and film here within our policy and within our process. But we'll have those conversations. We are also very lucky to have urban assets, rural assets, heritage, gritty industrial, the natural, everything from forest to beaches to vineyards. So we can double for almost anywhere in the world, as well as any time period if you're addressing it appropriately. So that's a real advantage to us, as well as we're focused in terms of our competitive advantage being seamless for production, as I said, open for business, but also balancing the needs of the community and the industry, in addition to just really making sure that we're setting the expectations for productions on what our limitations are and letting the community know, so that communication piece.
It's funny. So you mentioned all the things that make us an ideal location. One of the things was, we've got the urban, then we've got the rural, then we've got the suburban, we've got all these, and the natural beauty, but then the industrial. You just described all the things that can make St. Catharines difficult to govern sometimes as well. But that's, yeah. So if someone wanted to list their property as a film location, what do they need to do?
So we can support them through the Film STC team and the economic development team, but we don't have our own library that we curate. So it is, as I previously mentioned, owned and curated by Ontario Creates, which is the Ontario Film Commission. So they have a digital locations library where anybody can list their property for free. You just have to take photos, and then we can help you upload. So really, that's a long way to say, if you're interested in listing your property, you can go to filmstc.ca. There's information there. Or you can contact our team via email at filmstc@stcatharines.ca, and then we'll walk you through the process and we'll help. And we really want to encourage anybody that's watching, even if you have a little interest, please reach out to us, because we definitely will help you through that. It seems a bit daunting. It's an odd request sometimes, but can be really rewarding, and really proud that, pointing at the screen saying, that's my house.
Like I said, every time I'm the Leonardo DiCaprio meme, I appreciate the work that Film STC does. Julia, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Right on. Thanks, folks, and we'll be right back after this break. St. Catharines, thank you so much for joining me on another episode of Talk STC. I want to thank Dylan Tamlin and Julia Cholfi from the Economic Development Department here in St. Catharines. Sincerely appreciate their time talking about some of the things we do at City Hall and around the community to help business, to help entrepreneurs get moving, to get the film industry involved as much as they can in our community. I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Talk STC, and I appreciate the opportunity to sit with you for a little while in your homes this evening. Take care.